Good afternoon, and welcome to our fourth Kobudo class by video. You will notice that my assistants are not with me tonight. Unfortunately, we ran out of food and we had to eat them. Actually, they're actually doing something else right now. We'll start class by bowing in. Makso, eyes closed. Makso Yame, we bow. Ray. You'll have to pardon me as I do this all by myself. So let's first start with some warm-ups. Hold the bow in one hand, slowly lower, then raise. 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch hands. I find I have to choke up on the bow for this exercise. And as we turn it side to side. The goal is to keep the forearm straight and just focus on twisting the wrist. The idea is to build up the forearm muscles and the wrist strength. Now, it's easier to do this without people around because I'm not worrying about hitting anybody. Again, you will find one arm tends to be stronger than the other. I'm right-handed, so my right hand tends to be stronger than my left. Good. Put the bow on your shoulders. Just twist the shoulders out, the back out. I'm assuming that before you train, that you're stretching the rest of your body out. Side to side. You definitely want to work your arms and legs out prior to working with the weapons. Good. So let's start, as we always do, with the basics, ojundos. Our first set of basics are generally strikes, and they're going from high to low. So first strike is overhead strike, ich. You will notice I put my palm on top to support the direction of the strike. Ni, san, shi, go. Rok, sich, hach. Ku, Ju. When I do the strike, I try not to drive unrealistically low. My strike is to the top of the head, so rather than drive the strike down to the waist, that doesn't make sense. So I'm finishing the strike into the head. I'm using myself as my target. So my target zones, I'm striking at myself in a mirror, essentially. 45-degree strike. This strike comes in along an angle. It's to the collarbone. But once again, the palm supports the direction of the strike. Ni, san, shi, go. As always, the bow finishes up on the outside of the bicep, and the target is not through. We are not using a sword here. We are not cutting our opponent in two. We're going to the collarbone, that small bony part here. You break the collarbone, the arm, most of the arm muscles hang off the collarbone. If you break the collarbone, the arm becomes useless. Sich, hach, ku, ju. When I do the hand change, you will see there's a pattern. I tend to switch the front hand and then the back hand. In the process, I also tend to bring the bow back to chamber. This maintains solid contact on the weapon. You don't want to take your hand off the bow because at that point you can lose your grip on the bow. If you lose your grip and you lose the weapon, you lose your life. So we did hot overhead strike and then 45-degree strike. Now we're doing chest strike. The target zone here is the ribs. If you break someone's ribs, they can't breathe very effectively and they are not going to want to continue the fight. Itch, knee, san, shi, go, rope, sitch, hutch, ku, ju. As you will notice with the high strike, the 45-degree strike, and the chest strike, my stance was not deep. It is a very shallow front stance. In Kobudo, you don't need to have really deep, perfect-looking stances. The weapon is going to be doing most of the talking here. With that note, the one exception really is on the low strike. We will go into a deeper stance since we are striking low, and this allows us to get closer to the target. Itch, knee, san, shi, go. As always, the bow ends up on my shoulder, my bicep. My head is up. Strike is to a realistic target. Sitch, hutch, ku, ju. Final technique is a kamae ski. So it's essentially an inside to outside block and then a punch. So as we step through, itch, I'm bringing the bow around and across the front of my body. This is to catch any attack. If you're seeing the bow cross my body, that means any attack with a bow is going to get caught by it. Now, I think I may have stated in the past, when you're doing this, your hand is on your hip, the bow is parallel with the forearm. It is not into the elbow. Knee, san, shi, go. Now, something to think about. As you cross the body, you don't have to make it a large arc. One, that takes more time. Two, this is not a technique used for blocking a low strike. So there is no reason to have a large arc. Merely an arc wide enough to cover the upper body. Sitch, hutch, ku, ju, and I'll now add in the ski. Itch, knee, san, shi, go. You'll notice that when I do the kamae, I'm in a short front stance, and then I slide my front foot in as I do the ski. This is to give extra reach, also to add a little forward momentum in the same way that you would do a punch. While this is strong, this is stronger. Sitch, hutch, ku, ju. We're going to come back to ready. Now we'll do the next set of ojundos. So the first one we'll do is block low, and sometimes this is called the punch yourself in the ear block because it certainly looks like you're punching yourself in the ear. So we're blocking and then a 45 strike. So once again, short front stance and then slide in a little bit for the 45 strike. Itch, knee, sun, she, go. Now this particular basic is actually in Shishinakone, one of the classic bokatas. Sitch, hach, ku, ju. The next technique is a low block. So you are dealing with an attack down low and then turning and either spearing your opponent's foot or their groin. When you do this block, you pivot 90 degrees so that you can use the hip action to support the block and give it more power. The bow ends up, once again, on the bicep or the shoulder, depending on how low you're going. This is sometimes referred to as clear and spear. You will notice as I do the strike, I'm not using both hands to do the strike. I use the lead hand loosely to guide and aim the bow. Itch, knee, sun, she, go, roke, sitch, hach, ku, ju. Come back to ready. The next technique we're going to do is a block. Now, where we had done an inside to outside block in the past, in the first set of ojundos, this one seems almost like a reverse kamae. So you are doing an arc, but you're doing it down low. We are stepping out into a deeper stance. We're stepping out on a 45-degree angle into almost a horse stance, but the attack is coming in from the front, and we are knocking the weapon away to the side. Itch, knee, san, shi, go, roke, sitch, hach, ku, ju. Back to ready. Now last week, you may remember we did the sand throw or the dirt throw. We will not attempt to try to replicate that again this week in that we managed to knock the camera off in the process of doing it. But we will practice the technique. So in this case, you switch both hands, you step forward. And the idea is to drag the bow low, almost into the ground. If we were on the beach, we'd be dragging it through the sand and lofting either dirt or sand in the direction of the opponent. And the idea is to blind them. It's a basic distraction move. Itch. Now you'll notice my hand is under the bow. It's not on top. So it's supporting the direction that you want the dirt to go. Knee, sun, she, go, rope, sitch, hotch, ku, ju. Like the kamai, my hand ended up on the hip, not up high. Final move, or the final basic that we're going to do, is a strike to the chin. It's a strike with the back side of the bow. You'll notice I'm not changing my hands. So it's an uppercut to the chin. Step forward, and I'm skiing, but you'll notice instead of skiing with my thumbs forward, I'm skiing with my thumbs facing to the back. Sometimes this is referred to as a jam. The idea is to allow us to be familiar with using both ends of the weapon. A Japanese bow is made of hardwood. It is a heavy staff. Unlike some of the Chinese bows, which are made of rattan or bamboo and tend to be very light and are designed more for a whipping type strike, a Japanese bow is a hard bow and is used for blunt strikes or pokes. Itch. Knee. So the bow ends up on my arm as always. I step forward and jam. Knee. Sun. She. Once again, target is the throat. Go. Rope. Sitch. Hotch. Ku. Ju. Come back to ready. So those are the hojundos. Those are the first 10. Next we will work on the katas. In the meantime, let's get the other weapons out of the way. Again, token kame, no kon sho. Token kame means fighting spirit. No kon means bow kata of. Sho means first. Onigashimasu. Yoi. Itch. So turn, block. This is the punch yourself in the ear block. Knee. Parry. Chest strike. Ski. Sun. Turn. Switch both hands. Block. Punch yourself in the ear block. Shi. Parry. Chest strike. Ski. Go. Switch both hands. Punch yourself in the ear block. Roke. Parry. Step and strike. Sitch. Hotch. You will notice that I did not change hands, so I struck with both sides of the bow. Once again, Mariyoshi Kobudo is the art of the two-headed staff. Ku. So turn and block, no hand change. Ju, parry, step and strike, ski. Itch, turn and blocks, switching hands. Knee, parry, step and strike, ski. Sun, switch hands, turn and block. Shi, parry, step and strike. Go, step and strike. Sit, step and strike. Hotch, turn, long turn out of Takioku, block, no hand change. Ku, parry, step and strike, ski. Ku, turn and block. Ju, parry, step and strike, ski. Switch both hands, come back to ready. Arigato, gozaimasu. Token Kame no Kon Cho is based on Takioku 1. Same footwork, but the idea of having a bow in your hand. So, if I do Takioku 1, you will see the same footwork. Yoi, ich, lower block, knee, step and punch. In the bow kata, we have 2 strikes here. San, lower block. Shi, step and punch. Same footwork though in the bow kata. Go, lower block. Roke, punch. Hotch, punch, punch. In this case, we have chest strikes from the side. Ku, turn and block. Same turn, same idea of the long turn from Takioku 1. Ju, step and strike. Ich, turn and block. Knee, strike. San, block. Shi, strike. Go, strike. Rope, strike. Sich, turn and block. Hotch, punch. Ku, block. Ju, punch. Come back to ready. Yoi. So the difference in many ways between Kobudo and empty hand is obviously having a weapon in your hand and having to do hand changes. This can be confusing at times, and it does make the brain work a lot harder. Our next kata, Papu Hakusho, is based on Geksai Sho, Goju-Ryu form, with a bow. It was created by Sensei Wall. Once again, Onigashimasu, Yoi. Ich, knee. San, Shi, go. Roke, sit. Two, two. Knee. San. Shi. Go. Roke. Height. Arigato gozaimasu. Again, Papu Hakusho. Onigashimasu. Hand and feet separate. I lean forward slightly, push the bow up slightly, grab the bow under my chin. I'm grabbing the bow in equal thirds. Step back. Side head strike. Come on. Pivot. My feet aren't moving, just pivoting. 45-degree head block. step out, chest, ski, step back into a back stance, block low. Switch both hands, slide the back foot up, 45-degree head block to the other side, chest, ski, step back, block down. Turn, chest strike. You will notice I didn't do any hand changes yet. Knee, now I have a hand change. Sun, overhead strike, ski. The next is a block. So I'm falling out of the way of the attack. My stance is on a 45-degree angle. My opponent's coming straight in. My bow is overhead in a 45-degree head block. Pivot, jam, block. Step forward, chest right. Switch hands, chest right. Switch hands, step back, chest right. Switch hands, overhead, ski. Fall away, long block. This is very wushu-like, very kung fu-like. Pivot, jam, block. Front foot comes to the back foot. I step away at a 45-degree angle. Side head strike. Kamae. Ski. Same techniques out of the hojundos. Switch both hands. Turn the bow. Front foot comes back to the back foot. I step away again at a 45-degree angle. Side head. Kamae. Ski. Switch both hands. Short ready stance. Overhead block. Kamae. Ski. Kamae. I come back to ready. Arigato. Those are my style. So that'll be it for the bow techniques this week. So let's go on to the tonfas. In the last few classes, we've been working the basics with the tonfas. There's no real easy way at this point, I think, to build your own tonfas. If you do have them, that's good. I don't know if you're able to order them, if you need weapons. I'm not sure how Amazon is doing in terms of being able to deliver some stuff. So hold both tonfas. With the tonfa, the grip is what controls the weapon. As you are moving it, you loosen your grip. When you want it to stop moving, you lock in, you close the hand into a fist. You want to push the tonfa into the groove in the forearm muscles. So we'll start out with the tonfas down and a double down block. So this movement is actually the opening of the kata, but it is also a series of strikes. So we bring both tonfas out and up under the chin. So you're striking your opponent's chin. Let the tonfas drop, and then bring them back over and hit the opponent in the top of the head. Bring the tonfas back, down. Again, under, over, back, down, under, over, back, down, under, over, back, down, under, over, back, down. The tonfa, in my mind, is one of the most difficult weapons to control. It takes a lot of practice. This basic technique is one sure way of practicing that technique, that ability. Under, over, back, down. This forces you to learn how to control the weapon using your wrist and palm. If you can't do it with two, try doing it with one initially. One more time. Under, over, back, down. As we did last week, we will do a basic sequence, a adachi training. So we will move in stance. In this case, we'll be in a front stance. Left hand out, right hand at ready. With the tonfa, palm is up at chamber. This locks the tonfa between the arm and the ribs. Itch. So you punch. Left hand comes back to chamber. On the right side, the strike comes out to the knee. So there are 2 knee strikes, then an overhead strike. And we come back to a guard position. We step in and punch. Now on the left side, the right hand comes up to guard position. The tonfa comes out into a series of head strikes. And then comes back to a guard position. Step with the right foot. Punch, low, low, head, guard. Punch, high, high, head. Come back. Punch, low, low, head. Come back. Punch, head, head, head. Come back to ready. Or guard, sorry. Punch, low, low, head. Back to guard position. Punch, head, head, head. Come back to guard position. This is a very effective strike as it becomes faster. Any kind of strike to the head like that, especially from a tonfa that's made of a dense hardwood, is going to hurt and do some damage. The strike to the knee will most likely break the tendons. It will also do a lot of damage. So that's the basics for the tonfa. This week we will add in basics for the size. The size, unlike the other weapons we've practiced so far, are made of metal, not wood. A traditional sai will be octagonal on the central tine. This is to allow it to grip, especially an opposing weapon. The 2 side tines are meant to act as a guard. Like the tonfa, there's a lot of wrist control or a lot of wrist movement and use in the control of the weapon. So starting out with the tonfa, with your forefinger on the central tine, the thumb up, and the 3 fingers wrapped over the side, we are going to allow the tonfas to pivot on our thumbs, change directions. The idea here is this is a block. You are blocking on either a 45-degree head block from either side. Note, but the thumb is behind the central tine to add stability, and the fingers are gripping tight on the handle. To bring it down, I slide the thumbs over, allowing the sides to pivot back and down. Up, down, up, down. Once again, this is a very difficult weapon to get accustomed to. Up, down. It takes a lot of practice, and it's going to feel awkward, especially in the beginning. Up, down, up, down, up, down. This is also, in addition to being a block, is the opening sequence of the kata. As in the tonfa, there is a sequence, there is a basic sequence, a dachi training That is the same movement that is the majority of the kata. So we'll start out with our left foot forward, left hand out as a punch, right hand at ready. In the case of ready position with a sai, the palm is facing the body. This way the tines are going up and down. They're vertical. If you were to go to chamber position with the palm up, you would drive the tine into your ribs, which is not what you want to do. Stepping forward, we punch. Now, in this sequence, we pull back into a cat stance. We shift the sai outward, and this is a block position to the side. The idea is there's an attack coming in from your right side, and you are blocking. So block, throwing the weapon away or blocking down, stepping out into a front stance, thrusting. So you're driving the end of the sai into the ribs. Turn over, block down. You will notice I'm turning my right hand palm out so that the metal edge of the weapon is on the outside of my arm and blocking the attack and protecting my arm rather than having my arm protect the weapon. Step through, punch. You'll notice I shifted my hands, block. Block down, step in, thrust, turn back over, block outward. Step through and punch. Block, block, thrust. Block down. Step through, punch, block, block, thrust. Block down. Step through, punch, block, block, thrust, block down. Step through, punch, block, block, thrust, block down. Step through, punch, block, block, thrust, block down. Come back to ready. So that's it for this week. You'll have to pardon me, there's a lot of bugs in my backyard. I hope all of you are doing well under the circumstances. If you have any questions, you can feel free to email me. My email ID is tquinn, TQUINN, the number 5, at hvc.rr.com, or you can contact Shidoshi, and Shidoshi can get a hold of me. So we'll bow out. Moxo, eyes closed. Moxo Yame, eyes open, we bow. Hooray. We will train our hearts and bodies for a firm, unshaking spirit. We'll pursue the true meaning of the martial way so that in time our senses may be alert. With true vigor, we will seek to cultivate the spirit of self-denial. We will observe the rules of courtesy, respect our superiors, and refrain from violence. We will look upwards to wisdom and strength, not seeking other desires. We will follow our gods and never forget the true virtue of humility. All our lives, through the discipline of the martial arts, we will seek to fulfill the true meaning of the way. Thank you very much. I hope you continue to follow the classes, and I hope you continue to train. Thus.